We are. How's everyone doing out there? My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza, and we are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. We come to you every Wednesday night from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock to give you immigration updates and also to answer your questions. So if you have any questions for us, go ahead and get them posted. I also want to say hello to everyone joining us on TikTok. Out there, we're on Facebook and TikTok at the same time. If you have a question on TikTok, get it posted. I will let you know that we do take the questions in the order that they are received. So if you come late and put your question in there 55 times, you're still probably not going to get your question answered because we're going to take the questions ahead of you first. So please don't spam the TikTok with the questions. I do want to warn you that what we do here is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. It is not legal advice. And we're joining you from our office today, so it's like
Yes, I'm sharing right now,
Yeah,
so
it's kind of a
I'm
different-
having a hard time sharing.
different vibe going on here. Normally we are at our home office, and today we are actually in our office, which is located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, on the east coast of the United States. We have clients all over the world, definitely all over the United States, but our physical location is in Virginia Beach, and that's where we are right now. You could probably see. Oh yeah, look, there's even some books back there.
Yes, the brick and mortar.
Yes,
All
this
right.
is the old brick and mortar. That's right.
Yeah, we've been in this office for 11 years now.
Yes.
So we've been here for a while. Over a decade. Okay. So while we have some questions loading up here, I wanted to answer one question. And this question came in from a very good friend of ours. And it is a frequently asked question. It's something that a lot of people ask and they get confused about it. And the question is about renewing, and I'm doing it in quotes here, renewing the conditional green card. So you don't renew your conditional green card in the sense that you file the I-90 form. So that is the one big mistake that people do, is instead of filing the petition to remove the conditions on your permanent residency, people will go and file the I-90. And the I-90 is to, renew a 10-year green card that has expired. And it is not to renew the conditional 2-year card that you got based on marriage to your spouse. And you only got a 2-year card because you were married for less than 2 years when the green card was approved. Your lawful permanent resident status was approved. So it is such a big problem that when you go to the I-90 page of USCIS, Form I-90, there are warnings that say, hey, if you're looking to renew your I-751, renew, this is the wrong form. You need to file the petition to remove the conditions on your lawful permanent residency, and that is with Form I-751. So when you do an I-90 renewal, it's very straightforward in the sense that it's asking for your biographic information, your name, address, details about, where you got the green card. The other petition, the other form for the 2-year card is much more extensive. And my friend who was asking for a friend, he said, hey, my friends want to know, do they need a lawyer in order to complete the I-751 or the renewal of the green card? And so I kind of went into this explanation. And for all immigration filings, guys, you do not need an immigration lawyer. Is it smart to not have an immigration lawyer, especially now? No, it's not. Our immigration law firm, John and I started, where as John mentioned, we're husband and wife. We started pretty much right after law school. That was 25 years ago. And we have made a career and a business out of helping people with their immigration processes for 25 years. So what does that tell you? It tells you that there are many people who need help with immigration, and many people hire us to do an I-751 and remove the conditions on the green card. And yes, it looks fairly simple, but many people will come to us after, number one, missing the deadline to file, filing too early and getting it rejected, filing it and not submitting enough evidence. And so, yes, to answer our friend's question, yes, you should use an immigration attorney to prepare and file your I-751 petition. It requires a lot more work than it's more than meets the eye. Let's put it that way. And I would say that with every immigration filing. So hopefully that answers the question. And I know that many of you have that question as well. And remember, you should not renew your 2-year conditional green card or file the petition to remove the conditions on your 2-year conditional green card too soon, and you shouldn't do it late, of course. So you have to file that petition in the 90 days before your permanent resident card expires, and no sooner and no later. So I hope that answers the question. All right, you have an update. And Brian, great to see you here. Brian, you rock. Thank you so much. Brian thinks we rock. So we think Brian rocks.
Yeah, one update that we have. Again, we answer questions mostly, but when there's something that's an update that we think is good for you to know, we like to let you know. And the update that we have tonight is that the U.S. Department of State is rolling back its pandemic era policy on visa interview waivers, meaning that most non-immigrant visa applicants, including those renewing H, L, F, M, J, and O1 visas, will once again need to attend in-person interviews starting September 2nd, 2025. And that includes children under 14 and adults over 79. So they're going to have to appear with a consular officer unless they meet very specific, unless you meet very specific exceptions. The exceptions are diplomatic and international organization staff. So those are applicants with A1, A2, and C3.
So many of you out there.
Yeah, probably not. Diplomatic or official visa applicants and certain renewing travelers, applicants renewing a full validity B1, B2, or a Mexican border crossing card within 12 months of expiration are still going to be eligible for a waiver so long as they apply in their country of nationality or residence, were at least 18 years old when their prior visa was issued, have never been refused a visa, and have no apparent or potential ineligibility otherwise. So those are the exceptions. So
yeah.
You know, what can you do now? If you're planning to apply for a non-immigrant visa, definitely check your eligibility, see if you qualify under the updated interview waiver rules, and apply before September 2nd if you qualify for a waiver under the current policy. That's something you can definitely do. And for employers out there, make sure that your employees are aware of these changes and that you're aware of the changes so you can be proactive and get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it may take more time to get an interview.
Exactly.
And you need to plan around that. If someone's going back to their country and they need a new H-1B visa, there may not be enough calendar slots because everyone now is getting interviews, even for renewals, even children and older people.
For you employers out there, there was a specific checklist I saw that I thought was good. One is to review upcoming international travel or renewal plans. So you want to identify your employees who may need to renew visas, as Radham was talking about, while abroad, and assess whether they need to adjust their travel plans. You want to make sure you're communicating with them early, and that you're also building in some buffer time for the visa renewals and interview related delays, because it is going to take longer. So you want to take those things into consideration. And of course, the last one on the checklist here, and most important, is to coordinate with an immigration lawyer.
Is that what it says?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I didn't
that's
write
not,
that.
not my checklist. This is a checklist
good
that's
one.
just widely accepted by all, really smart people.
That's a really good one.
Yep.
Great advice. That is
Yes.
advice to use an immigration lawyer for your immigration processes.
Yeah, but no, seriously, just September 2nd is right around the corner. So if you fall in any of these categories, any of this applies to you, this is not oh, that was an interesting update. We'll look into that down the road. September 2nd is like in 3 weeks.
Right. And remember, there's also enhanced social media vetting. So hopefully you don't have anything on your social media that would fall under a category that would make you ineligible for the visa, or even just a pause on your process. So they can just pause the process and not grant you the visa and say, hey, you're in administrative processing. We're going to have to look into this. This has happened to some of our clients in the past, of course. Some of our clients have had to have their tattoos checked out, have had to have more extensive background checks, and this happens. And you have to plan for it, and you have to plan for, if you are put into administrative processing, then you're going to be stuck and you're not going to be able to go back to your job or to your classes or rejoin your family. If you're doing an immigrant visa, it might take longer. So just obviously be aware of all of these things so you're not caught off guard. And if you are working with an immigration attorney, if you want to work with immigration attorneys like us, that is a great thing. You'll always be kept up to date with everything that's happening and all of the different changes that are happening very rapidly right now. So
employers, check your teams, make sure that you're ahead of this. And employees, if you think that your employer is not going to know anything about this, you may want to get on it.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Keep an eye out for yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Let us do our first question. That will be coming from TikTok.
First question will be coming from TikTok tonight. Esme wants to know, do you think that they will waive my mom's interview? She's in Mexico and I'm a U.S. citizen.
No, I do not. Especially based on what we just talked about. I mean, they typically do not waive an interview for an immigrant visa. So if U.S. citizen child, son or daughter, petitions for their parent, our clients will be going to an interview for that.
Yep. I-130 got approved today, she says.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations. So when you have a consular process, so this person's mom is in Mexico, and when you have an I-130 petition that has been approved, there are other steps, right? So approval of the I-130 petition is generally the very first step in a family immigration case. And right now, for a parent of a U.S. citizen or the spouse of a U.S. citizen or the unmarried child under the age of 21 of a U.S. citizen, these are all immediate relatives, that petition is taking about 17 months for USCIS to approve. She just got an approval. It's now going to go to the National Visa Center. And that typically takes about 30 to 60, sometimes even 90 days for USCIS to transfer that to the National Visa Center. Once the National Visa Center gets the file, then you will be notified via email on the next steps, creating an account. And there you will find what you have to do next: uploading your documents, submitting your affidavit of support, completing the DS-260. So the National Visa Center and working with the National Visa is a whole different ballgame, different process. So it's just the second part of this process. Once NVC gets all the documents that are required, you upload all of them. You've completed your your DS-260. And I forgot the most important thing, you have paid your fee bills of $445. Then National Visa Center will inform you that you are now documentarily qualified to move on to the next step, for mom to move on to the next step. And that is going to be the interviews. So I'm starting to call the medical an interview now, right? Because it kind of is. So mom will have to go to a medical, and mom will have to go to her visa interview. And so at the medical, they'll check the vaccinations, give her age appropriate vaccinations, do blood tests for things that are communicable diseases like TB, make sure she's negative on that. And then the next day or two, she'll typically will go to her visa interview where, they'll ask questions on the DS-260 application, make sure everything is correct. And if it's been a while, they also may ask for updated financial documentation from the petitioner. In this case, it's the daughter, and any joint sponsor documentation. So that is the whole process. The I-130 petition is the very first step. Ciudad Juarez is taking a really long time for interviews. So just be really patient or try to be patient and make sure that you follow all the instructions. And you should probably hire an attorney if you don't already have one. Okay. All right.
Got
I got
a question there on
question here.
Facebook, or we can get one here from TikTok. We've got more up. Here's
Got one from YouTube. It's Batty.
Buddy.
Batty. I like that. Batty has a question. Hi, did my I-130 and I-45 interview marriage green card since 3 weeks interview as well? And she gave us a white paper checking the first box, your case is being held for review, what to expect. So Batty here, you believe that your case and your interview went well. And now you've been given this piece of paper that your case is being held for review. That could mean a couple of different things. I'm not sure if you had anything that was missing. You don't mention that, but sometimes if there is something missing, they will hold the case until they can issue you what's called a request for evidence, or if they're wanting more documentation from you, and they'll send you that request for evidence within 30 days. Typically, there could be an alert of some sort on your file. And I mean, I'm not trying to scare you, but this sometimes happens that, hey, there's an alert, whatever it may be. Maybe your name is not matching with something, your fingerprints aren't coming up with the same thing. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different things, but those are typically the things that happen. And just because more security background check needs to happen doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It just means that they need to look into something else. So the timeline is not, I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. They said the case is being held for review. You think the case went well. So hopefully you'll either get a request for evidence or an approval fairly quickly. So good luck, Batty. Thanks for coming and watching. And we hope that everything goes well with that.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for you. All right.
I guess you do. I guess you do 2 fingers crossed, right? Yeah, or 1. I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, these are fingers, so
yeah,
there's 2 of them when you cross just the one hand.
But why would we only cross 1? I mean, if you've got 2 to cross, let's really give Batty. Let's give Batty all the cross fingers that we can. Okay.
Batty probably doesn't believe in fingers crossed, like many people don't.
Yeah, anything can help. Okay, Phoenix.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. Phoenix 69 over here. This is interesting. He wants to know whether we think that Medicaid health insurance through the New York State of Health is going to be considered public charge.
It depends on who's using it.
Yeah.
There are some non-permanent residents who are eligible to get Medicaid. I believe people who are on U4U were eligible to get Medicaid. I think people who have been granted asylum. I mean, don't quote me in this. I'm not a Medicaid specialist, but Is it your child who's using it, who is a U.S. citizen? That's something that a lot of people who do consultations with us, they say, hey, I mean, I've used Medicaid, and then we drill down. It's actually the children who are using Medicaid, and they're allowed to use Medicaid. So it really depends on what your status is, who in your family is using it. Could be fine. But there is a potential that, if it's non-emergency Medicaid that you're using, you might have to check yes on that box on the I-485. And they will look into whether you would be a person that would become a public charge. Now, you have your petitioner. Your petitioner will have to do an affidavit of support. If you need a joint sponsor, your joint sponsor will have to sign an affidavit of support. And they do need to look at the totality of the circumstances to see, okay, is this person, based on these facts, are they going to become a public charge? So you're not out of the box yet. I wouldn't not file because of this. I would definitely do more investigation. And, for me, of course, I would ask those questions of you if you had a consultation with us and dig deeper into it. So great question though.
Yeah, you're not per se out of luck, but
right. And if you check the box yes, because you have used non-emergency Medicaid, how did you get it? Right? That could get into other issues. Did you, and I'm not saying you did this is just a hypothetical. Did you say that you were a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, and then you were granted the Medicaid? That's a problem. That's more of a fraud issue, and that could get pretty dicey, for lack of a better word. Can you think of a better word than dicey? This is it. Is dicey an appropriate word here?
Absolutely.
It could get dicey. Yeah, that's the word I'm going to stick with. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Good one.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got some really interesting questions. I say interesting because, we do this every Wednesday, and usually on every Wednesday when we're here from 8 to 9, we just get a ton of travel questions. I haven't seen a travel question yet, which is pretty remarkable.
Maybe everybody is traveling.
Maybe everybody, right now. Yeah.
People, they've probably already gone on their trip. They've safely come back. They've listened to our lives. They've made their checklist that they're all good. So. Right.
So Juicy Love wants to know,
like the username. Juicy Love.
This is interesting. My sister passed away. Sorry to hear that. That's sad. And she left her child with autism.
Oh.
He is 18 now. Can I adopt him and petition?
So
that's tough, Juicy. And you're a good sister. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in order to adopt, and I don't believe there is any exceptions for children or young adults with with autism or any other type of developmental disability, you would have need to do the adoption prior to the child turning 16. So I believe that it's too late. As John mentioned at the beginning of this is not legal advice. This is an issue that I actually really, I don't believe there are any exceptions to that. But even if a person adopts their niece or nephew prior to the age of 16, there are other requirements when you're adopting a family member. And they're tough to are tough to achieve, because one of them is you have to have lived with the child for at least 2 years. And that's sometimes hard for people who are in the United States to fulfill that requirement. It does require a lot of traveling back and forth. But here we have your nephew is an adult now, and don't quote me on this because this is not legal advice. I believe that it's too late. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Like Radlin said, you may want to reach out to us or another law firm who does immigration law to, really dig down and look at it more closely. But unfortunately, that's bad news.
This is a really good question. It is at the top of a lot of people's minds right now, this policy. Jeannie Jen says, hello, attorneys. Can you comment on the new policy that immigration authorities may begin removal proceedings for immigrants who lack legal status and apply to become a resident through a spouse? So this was a recent policy that was mentioned at the beginning of August. And it basically is saying, hey, look, and this is absolutely true. This is not new, what I'm about to say and what this policy says. It says filing an I-130 petition by itself, and even an approved I-130 petition, does not confer status. It does not confer status to anyone. That's true. If you file an I-130 petition for your spouse, and you're a U.S. citizen, and your spouse is here, and you're like, oh, let me just fill out this form because that's what the website says to do. That's what USCIS.gov says to do, is to complete this I-130 petition. And here is my $1 million tip for all of you self-filers out there who, by the way, you should not be self-filing. Hire a lawyer, save the money, hire an immigration lawyer. I'm pointing. I should stop pointing. No one can see me pointing though. You file it and it goes off. And meanwhile, your spouse is here on a tourist visa, and you think that your spouse is good because, like, I'm a U.S. citizen. Of course, she's fine or he's fine. I know this for a fact that people who marry U.S. citizens are good. They're good to go. All right. So you file it, and while you're waiting for USCIS to approve this petition or deny this petition or do whatever with this petition, your wife falls outside of status. She falls out of status, right? Or he falls out of status because he came in on a tourist visa. He was only allowed to be here for 6 months. You filed the I-130 petition. You're like, he's good. I filed this petition. He's not. He's out of status. And that's what this policy is talking about. It's talking about just because you file an I-130 petition does not prevent us from putting you in removal proceedings. Okay. So yes, we are closely watching this, and they are going to put out more information about this. This is not the final information that they're going to give us. It's not that there's going to be more information. And what is actually really concerning to us as immigration attorneys is really not just the standalone I-130 petition. We don't file just standalone I-130 petitions for people who are eligible to become permanent residents through adjustment of status process. We don't do that. You guys do it. You guys do it all the time. You self-filers will just file that I-130 petition like, oh, my spouse is good. No, they're not. They're not. They actually could be eligible for the green card application, but because you went to the website and you filled out a form, that's what you think, but they're not. And had you hired an immigration lawyer, they would have concurrently filed that I-130 petition. They would have filed a work permit for your wife or your husband or your spouse, and your spouse could be working in 6 months matter of time, right? In 6 months time. So all the money that you saved because you didn't hire an immigration lawyer, you could have made that back 2-3-fold with your spouse's salary, if you think about it, right? And so it's a concern. It's a concern that people don't know that filing an I-130 petition just by itself does not confer any type of legal status for someone who is, number one, undocumented, and or number two, eligible for adjustment of status, but you're filing the standalone I-130. Now, the more scary part is, does this also apply when we're concurrently filing an I-130 and a green card application for somebody who is in status and or someone who falls outside of status? So that's something that we're closely watching, but it's a really good question, and we're watching it. We're watching it as it relates to the provisional waiver process, because the very first part of the provisional waiver process is to file an I-130 petition. That needs to get approved before we go on to the next steps. Provisional waiver process is super long. And we have told our clients the filing of this I-130 petition does not confer a benefit. You need to do something with it in order for you to get permanent residency in the United States. That's either consular processing or adjustment of status. So I kind of went a little bit off there because we have seen this time and time again. I kind of want to write an article to, and I'm not a harsh person, you know, I'm not a person that says things that's inflammatory, that's really going to like make people incensed, but I want to write an article your husband or your wife or your spouse is screwing up your immigration case. What do you guys think? What do you think? Yes, no, maybe so? But I think it's needed because we've seen so many cases where the spouse just thought that they were doing the right thing. And I guess they were meaning well. But if you really want to help your spouse, then you should hire a reputable immigration attorney. Okay, moving on. Lots of questions.
Well, yeah, it's just doing it right is so important because, as Radlin said, every delay, you know, some delays are fatal. Some delays ruin the entire case, and then you're completely screwed. Other delays just cause a lot of headache and create a lot of, you know, financial harm to you as well. And if you had just done it right the first time, it would have been way cheaper, way faster, and, you know, more peace of mind. Anyway, this is my special mug here.
That's a camping mug? These are all camping mugs.
I only use it at the office. I think it came in like a Christmas basket.
This is my you're on mute. All right.
Okay, yeah, we'll get off the soapbox. It's just seriously, folks. I mean, come on. This is the most important thing you're doing in your life. And you're gonna just like do some Google searching and download some forms and, you know, guess at some of the tough questions, or better yet, just call a relative who did it and ask them what they put. What'd you guys check for that box? You know, we have seen so many cases that were messed up. It's incredible. Like, everybody thinks that they're going to do this. They're going to save a bunch of money. You know, it's just whatever. If that's what you want to do, if you don't think you're worth doing it the right way, then that's up to you. I think you are. Okay.
Can I talk about one of, I don't even, it's not even one of the worst ones. I mean, they're all bad, but this one was actually pretty bad. And it was an I-130 petition filed for the spouse, and the spouse, the petitioning spouse, is a U.S. citizen. So the U.S. citizen spouse filed the petition for his wife and put her son on the petition. Now, we all know, maybe not all of us, but we know that if you are a U.S. citizen, you need to file two petitions, one for the spouse and one for your stepson, your stepchild. because the relationship was entered into before the child turned 18. That U.S. citizen spouse can petition for his stepson, and it has to be a separate petition. But they thought, or I'm sorry, the husband thought that we just needed to put the wife and the son on one petition. All right. So 2 years later, she immigrates to the United States. What happens to the stepson? Of course, he doesn't come because we need a separate petition for the stepson. He cannot fall under the wife's, and so he aged out.
Yeah.
I'm doing it again. Laughing when it's just a horrible situation. The kid aged out, which means he turned 21. Stepdad could have locked his age in had he filed that petition for him. And he just kept arguing with me, and he just kept saying, no, he's on the petition. Anyway, it was bad. But I mean, we've seen many of those. So, yeah. Evelina says, I think I missed the announcement for the next Free Citizenship Day. You did not miss the announcement, Miss Evelina. I have not made the announcement yet. I have a scheduling thing that I need to do. It's in September. So I need to figure that schedule.
Yeah, we need to get a date.
out.
Before we can announce the date, we have to get a date.
Yeah. All right, let's put up another OC. I think Citizenship Day is on September 17th. Well, that's Constitution Day. But the official Citizenship Day is okay. We will get to that to you soon, guys. Soon. Thank you, Miss Evelina, for always coming on here and reminding us. All right.
Reminding us to do Citizenship Day. So Idori here on TikTok, he got here early and said, hello, I'm a U.S. citizen, and I recently married a Japanese national. She entered with an ESTA visa, and I don't know where else goes from there, but he was early. Oh, we're thinking of doing the paperwork on our own, but seem overwhelmed. Idori, we were just talking about this.
Just talking.
As you know, because you've been here waiting to see if your question would get answered. Yeah, you get overwhelmed. Don't be overwhelmed. Just give us a call, and it's so straightforward when we do it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, they're saying we can't hear you on TikTok. Oh, no. Okay, can you guys hear us now? This person says we can't hear you on TikTok. You're muted for the past 20 minutes. That's a bummer. So sorry.
No, that's a real bummer. Yeah.
That's a bummer. Let us know, guys, if you cannot hear us. Your internet connection is bad.
No volume for the last 20 minutes. No volume.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay. I'm going to answer this question here from Juville while we figure this out.
This person said, doesn't he see the comment? He's looking at TikTok right at it.
I don't know if we can do anything about it.
Very frustrating. Makes no sense.
They're clearly not real. Okay. So,
we can't hear you. Hello.
Okay. Juville says, they say they still can't hear us. Maybe we should restart.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that's happening. Let me just check this real quick. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. I think it's my phone. It never does this on your phone. We'll just take it off of this and see if that helps. I don't think it does. Okay. Not sure if you guys can hear us now. Is that the? Yeah, I think that the connection is just bad. I have no idea.
Well, you'll just have to get onto Facebook if you can't hear us.
Yeah, so sorry, guys.
Somebody said, I think this is a recording. No, we are live.
Okay. Juval says, I'm a U.S. citizen already. Congratulations, Juval. Can I petition both my mother and sibling who just turned 16? So this is an issue of waiting for a visa to become available for your 16-year-old sister. So unfortunately, as a person, so I'm going to just I don't know what country you're from, but I'm going to just assume you're from the Philippines. Okay. And the Philippines visa bulletin is showing for if you want to petition for your sibling, it's showing really long wait times and 19 years, actually, to be exact, 19-ish years. And so the better thing to do, again, it is much better to come and, okay, sound is back on TikTok. Sorry about that, guys. It's much better to, again, we need to evaluate your facts and your circumstances, but generally speaking, it's going to be faster if you petition for mom immigrates to the United States, and then mom petitions for your sister, because your sister will then fall under a faster preference category, which will be the unmarried child under the age of 21 and of a permanent resident. That would be your mom, and it's much faster. So come make an appointment with us. Let's do this case. The main thing here, Juvenile, is to file as soon as possible for mom. So mom can immigrate and your younger sister does not age out. That's the most important thing. So, all right. SH, thank you so much for coming on Facebook and letting us know about the issue with the not being able to hear us. So,
Yeah, so let's go back to Adori's question. He was who we were talking to. We may have had some other questions that they couldn't hear our answers either.
Yeah, so sorry, guys. This has been a really great live. Come over to Facebook if you want to watch the recording of this, just because I think we covered some really good topics. But to go back to the person who is thinking about getting married to their significant other from Japan.
Yep.
She came in, or he came in on an ESTA, and they're overwhelmed with the paperwork. Please give us a call. And if you don't like us because our TikTok didn't work, our TikTok didn't work, please go hire a reputable immigration attorney. It does not have to be us. It would be great if it were us, but it does not have to be us. You have a perfect case for an immigration lawyer to help you, especially in these uncertain times. We had the question earlier about the I-130 petition. What are they going to do about that? What about people who came in on the ESTA or someone who came on the B1, B2? Are they going to be putting those people in removal proceedings if you get married to a U.S. citizen and file an I-130 petition and an I-45 and you're eligible for adjustment of status under the Immigration and Nationality Act and 245A? So there's a lot going on here, and a lot is changing very rapidly. And, we have laws on the books, but the way that they're being interpreted and the policy that is surrounding the laws that are on the books, they're changing. And so, yes, a person who has come in on an ESTA and who marries a U.S. citizen, and that U.S. citizen files the I-130 petition, the I-45, these are cases that we do. These are cases that we still do. Are these cases that we're going to continue to be doing once this policy is released? I'm not sure, but we're still filing these types of cases. But every case is different, right? Your intent about why you came into the United States. Did you lie when you entered the United States? Did you lie when you applied for a visa? Now, of course, you don't need to apply for a visa for the ESTA, but you do have to fill out questions. You have to answer questions when you come in. So these are all the things that we have to take into consideration. And it's just really important. And we're here usually every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. because we want your case to go well. And there are immigration lawyers like us who can help you if you don't want to use us. Maybe you want to use someone in your own state. That's fine. We can represent you even if you're in a different state, but we understand we're not the right fit for everyone, but we're here to give you information. And this information is not for you to go and, continue to be overwhelmed. The reason we're here is for you to be like, I should listen to Radlin and John, and I should hire an immigration lawyer. I should at least consult with an immigration lawyer to help them file my case, even though, I know 1,000 people who have filed their case on their own, and they'll all teach me how to do it. Even though that's the case, even though I have a giant immigration book and it has all the immigration answers, even though I took a course and now I feel like I am an immigration lawyer. Even all those things, guys, we're here so you can pick up the phone or fill in a contact sheet and call us or call some other immigration lawyer. So you are just not sitting there going, man, what happened? Now the case is denied. Now I'm afraid. So please just call us or call another immigration law firm that you feel comfortable with. It does not have to be us.
Our number is 757-464-9224. That's 757-464-9224. Again, you call us. If you don't want to call us, fine, call somebody else, but make sure you talk to a professional. I mean, if you're serious about getting a green card, if you're serious about becoming a U.S. citizen, then invest a little bit of money in it and a little effort. Like, it takes a little work and a little investment to get a green card and to become a U.S. citizen. If every single person could just go on Google and fill out a form, then everybody would be here. It's harder than that. So do it right.
Okay. Sammy Ralph says, I have a question. I have had a criminal record with only one arrest, happened in 2022 for no driver's license and possession of marijuana, and pled guilty. And I already disclosed this case with USCIS, and they approved my case, and I got a green card in early 2025 without even a waiver. Now I want to travel internationally to see my family overseas. Would it be a problem to re-enter back to the country? Please do not do that. Don't do that. I would go back to your immigration lawyer or get an immigration lawyer and talk to them about, okay, what was the amount of marijuana that you had? Are you, just don't do that. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But and the reason I am saying this is because this is before this administration, way before this administration. John and I, less than 30 grams, great, but whatever. John and I had a case, or our law office had a case, and our client had a simple possession of marijuana, travel outside the United States, came back in, was paroled back in, and they said, hey, look, we're looking at this documentation. You have a simple possession of marijuana. We don't really know how much marijuana there was here because it doesn't say it on any of the paperwork. Everybody knows that it has to be less than 30 grams. Okay, great. He goes to the local CBP to get further inspection. They arrest him. It's mandatory detention for a marijuana conviction where you don't know how much marijuana it was. Now, ultimately, he stayed in jail for about 3 months or 4 months, and he was a young kid. He was a college student, so this was not something that he was used to. But there he was, mandatory detention, same exact facts as Sammy Ralph here, and we were able to get him a waiver and show that it was less than 30 grams. And thankfully he had a qualifying family member who was his mom as the qualifying family member to get the waiver, but we had to go through immigration court, right? The judge had to grant the waiver. Then he was released. So you gotta be really careful.
And I just want to note, to be clear, he was not our client when he chose to travel. We got involved in the case when all
Yeah,
the trouble arose.
right. Exactly. So I would right now tell every single person with any type of marijuana, anything, not to travel. And Sammy has a police report that states it was 0.315, very, 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 very tiny amount. That I just wouldn't risk it. Now, I may be extremely conservative for people's freedom, right? For people not to have to spend any time detained, and you have to weigh that. But I would absolutely go back to your immigration lawyer and find out what the risks are. I'm telling you what the risks are right now. And they're all the people that you see on social media. Oh, we've been a lawful permanent resident for 10 years and they came in and they got arrested. It's usually about drugs, small possession of drugs. So yeah, just be careful, Sammy. I don't like the way that you're asking these questions. It looks like you really want to go. But I don't know. Now, some people say, well, what do we do? Like, what's the solution here? Yes, Sammy, the solution is apply for U.S. citizenship. That's correct. Before you travel. Yep. That is the solution. It's just too risky right now. Tell your family members if they can to come here. Okay, let's grab another question. Miss Evelina, it was the CBP 1 program.
Are you waiting on me?
Yes.
Oh, I was trying to get down here.
So Gayla Martinez gives us this report. We just traveled to Mexico. Husband has Mexican passport with green card, entered the United States with no problems. Thank you so much for sharing that. Majority of people are not going to have problems.
Okay, one of the questions that was earlier was whether you can apply for citizenship if you have a lost green card.
Yes, you can.
Think they're eligible, don't have their green card. All right.
Yep. You have to fill out something during your interview that the green card is lost. All right.
Okay. Just making sure that everybody can hear.
I know John is very he's very, he wants to make sure he's getting these questions in order. He doesn't want to jump ahead of the line.
Yeah. No, I just want to go down to the bottom and to make sure that we are in fact do have volume. We had a few folks here that were practically stroking out because they couldn't hear us. It's okay, folks. It's going to be okay.
We have bigger problems. Look, it's my. Why does my computer? I don't think it's good. We have 6 minutes left. Do we have another question?
Yes.
We're having all kinds of.
Okay.
John is going to get up and plug something in.
Okay, Lal had a question. This came in pretty early too. My husband has DACA and had a DUI dropped to reckless driving 7 years ago and had his case terminated. Discretion 3 years ago, would it be safe to do advanced parole even with his record?
I think that one, you can apply for advanced parole. To whether you travel with it is going to be another question. And again, this is the final disposition of your husband's case was not a DUI. It was a reckless driving. He kept his DACA. No, it's always a risk. And if your husband chooses to travel, he definitely should make sure that he has a certified disposition showing that this case was dropped down to a reckless driving. And not admit to anything other than what it was dropped down to. Again, guys, this is not legal advice. Now, I know that sounded like legal advice, but I'm going to follow it up with you need to get the case evaluated by an immigration attorney.
All right, Clady wants to know, my daughter is now waiting for an interview date. U.S. Consulate in Manila. Thanks to Sir Domini.
Let's clap.
Domini's
Sir
there.
Domini Sampson is one of our great attorneys that helps our clients. And if you want to know a little bit more about Attorney Sampson, just read our Google reviews.
Yes.
He is mentioned many times. And I personally talk to everyone who gets a green card and works with our office after they get the green card. And the clients have so many wonderful things to say about our attorneys and our team. And maybe it's because they're holding their green card in their hand. I don't know. But it just brings me so much joy.
Except Sir Domini, I did not know that he had been knighted.
Just thought Dom is a knight.
Okay.
He's a knight of immigration law.
That happened.
The knight of immigration law.
And then Sammy here said, looking great, guys. Thanks, Sammy.
Ah, that's our daughter joining us.
Okay.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, Mikkel wants to know, I'm enrolled in a debt relief program. Will this affect my application for citizenship?
Should not.
Should not.
It should not.
All right. Yeah, maybe we could talk about that briefly. We had a couple questions tonight now about finances. I think people out there are generally worried about things like, oh, I have back taxes, or, I've got bad credit, or I've got a ton of debt. I owe child support, this kind of stuff.
Some of those are a problem.
Some of those are a problem.
Yeah. Taxes.
And some of them are not.
A problem. Child support could be a problem. You're not supporting your dependents.
Whoa.
I need a new phone. John he won't let me get a new phone.
That is not true.
He's holding the purse strings.
Is absolutely false.
He has not approved the new phone for me. For those of you guys just joining or watching us, my name is Radha Mendoza, and this is my husband and law partner, John Gardner, who will not let me get a new phone, and therefore our TikTok is broken sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding, guys. It's just almost 9, so I'm very slap happy. All right. Yes.
Okay. Kat here wants to know, can my husband, who is a U.S. citizen, and I travel outside the country with my I-751 pending? We have an extension letter.
Yes. Are they traveling together?
It doesn't say, but I think from the question, yes.
Yeah. Yes. You can travel with that I-751 extension letter. If you're traveling with your spouse, great. If you're not traveling with your spouse, you may prepare yourself to answer some questions about your marriage, your relationship, your I-751, what kind of documents that you submitted with the I-751. Are you still living together? Those types of questions, especially, if it's been some time since you filed the I-751. So you may have additional questions. Now, someone might say, I filed an I-751 to go together with my spouse. I got an extension letter. By the way, the extension letter is for 48 months. It extends your green card for 48 months. My spouse and I are now separated. Can I travel on that I-751 letter? Again, you have to be able to answer these questions. And if you're no longer with your spouse, I wouldn't travel because it's too risky. They may say that you are not in a bona fide and valid marriage, give you a really hard time, not allow you to come back in as a lawful permanent resident. Guys, if you have a conditional card, you are a lawful permanent resident, just like someone who has a 10-year card. If you have filed your I-751, okay? So even if you and your spouse separate or ultimately divorce, you're still a lawful permanent resident until an immigration judge takes that away or you sign an abandonment of it. So don't sign anything saying that you're abandoning your green card if you're getting pressured to do it. The correct thing to do is say, I would like to be paroled into the United States or allowed to come into the United States for someone else to take a look at my documents to show that I am a lawful permanent resident of the United States. And then I'm talking to people who have these I-751s. So just be vigilant. Your status is as a lawful permanent resident, even if you have a 2-year card plus the I-751 receipt, which extends your 2-year card. Okay.
Last one. It's 9:00.
Last question.
Helen wants to know, can I successfully appeal an I-130 petition revocation due to not receiving mail?
Oh, probably not. I know that the revocation standards are very high, and I don't have the exact language.
Going back to what we've been talking
Yeah.
about all night, I know this sounds like a hard push, but it just, this alone is a reason that you should have an immigration attorney working on your case, so that the mail is duplicate. It's going more than one place.
Right.
It's going to your attorney and to you, and the odds of something, because we do see this from time to time. People that say, something bad happened in their case, and they say, we never saw it. We moved, or, there was some stuff lost in the forwarding, or we didn't know we were supposed to update the address, whatever the case. If you have an attorney, again, you're going to have the mail going to them as well. And so that alone makes it worth it. Yeah.
And I would also just double check that it actually was revoked. I mean, I just saw a case today where another attorney filed an I-130 petition. I'm sorry, a green card application based on an I-130 petition that they did not realize was revoked. So everything was denied. So it is tough to show. And again, off the top of my head, I don't know what the standards are for saying, hey, you shouldn't revoke my I-130 petition. I do not believe that not getting the mail is enough. If you changed your address or you updated your information and you have proof that you updated your information with the National Visa Center, including your email, including your mail, then that may be a reason. But usually people can't prove that to show that they did update their address and their contact information. But if you can prove that, that may be a basis for overturning that revocation. Okay.
All right, gang.
Okay, Ms. Everly asked one quick question. Can someone stay here any other way after their CB1 time expires? Possibly we would have to evaluate the case and see if they have any other remedies or any ways to remain in the United States after their parole expires.
All right. And Kate in caps, real quick. Met her husband, met her boyfriend back in 2019.
Yeah.
As a tourist. Now she has an H-1B visa and she's here. This is 6 years later. They're hoping to get married. And her question is, I think it's going to be, I didn't see the question, but I think the question is going to be, should I call you guys to make an appointment? And the answer is yes.
Absolutely, for sure. You really think that's what the question is going to be?
That's what the question should be. No, she wants to know, is it possible for me to change visas?
Yes, it is possible for you to change visas.
He's a U.S. citizen, by the way.
He's a U.S. citizen. It's definitely possible for you to change visas. Please give us a call.
Yep.
It is what we do.
Yes. Okay.
It's our number one case type. And we shall end with this.
Number one case type, cat in caps.
Yep. Miss Evelina says, people make comments of me having an attorney because I was here for over 30 years when I applied for citizenship. I'm assuming people said, why did you have a lawyer? That's dumb. Or why you should have known how to do that yourself. right? I mean, you've been here for 30 years, but to me, it was worth the investment. So we shall end on that.
Mhm.
You are worth the investment of having a professional work on your case. And we
Yeah.
hope that you give us a call.
Guess what Evelina is?
A U.S.
A
citizen.
U.S. citizen.
Yeah, and look how happy she looks in her thumbnail.
2 thumbs up. Okay, everyone. Sorry about the sound issue.
Yeah.
Especially Virginia Bro. Come back next Wednesday, Virginia Bro.
Or just
We
listen.
are going to make it up to you. All right.
Yeah. Did he have a question?
No.
I know. He just was sad to hear all the great things that we had to say.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, it's frustrating. I get it. I was on a live call last night, and if I hadn't been able to hear anything they were saying, I would have been frustrated
Yeah.
as well. Okay, guys. We will see you next week. All right.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.